Well, howdy, howdy there. It's a short talk in the trailer park with an old guy. Now, I'm pretty sure you know who the old guy is. We don't have to draw any pictures, right? It's a Monday the 1st, I called it, the 1st. See, tomorrow would be a good day to go to the dentist, I reckon. The tooth. Anyhow, it's a short talk in the trailer park. It's a Monday afternoon, maybe, probably 5:10 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I actually don't care what time it is. I just got home. Brought some beers with me, and as you can see, there's no check yet. I'm still waiting on that endorsement deal. Maybe I need an agent. Some viewers would be good too. Anyhow, it's a short talk, and I just wanted to kind of shoot some breeze with you today. I tried to make a video or two yesterday, and I just went kerflunk, and it's like, no what? I was so spun after coming out of church yesterday. I tell you what, sometimes I think I need to get deprogrammed, after coming out of that place, because it's like, I don't know exactly how to describe this, but some of the things I've been talking about on this channel, right? Things like, hey, look, we're going to church. How about we brag up Jesus, He's the one this is really all about, right? His saving power, his presence, his goodness, his mercy. Let's talk about how intelligent this cat is. He knows everything, or whatever. Talk about Jesus? No. So we're in Sunday school, and apparently the church has taken it upon itself to get involved in something called a church revitalization program. And so, guess what? They know they're losing families. All you got to do is look around. You don't have to be Einstein to figure this out. They know they're losing people. They knew they're losing traction in the community. They know that this church is not growing, okay? Well, what are they going to do? But they're going to have a revitalization plan. And so I was in the Sunday school session listening to this stuff and trying to be, a good listener and not just tear everybody to pieces or something like that. But on one or two occasions, I had an opportunity to say a few things, and boy, I could tell it was like, about as welcome as a turd in a punch bowl. I mean, the look on the people's faces, the assistant pastor, he changed gears and stopped that line of discussion dead in its tracks. No, we're not going to talk about that. And what we're not going to talk about is everything. I said, well, the dollar's on fire. The government is involved in a moral collapse right now. That it's ethically a disaster. Overseas, we got maybe World War III on three fronts. That should cheer a chap up. Then on the other hand, let's consider when the interweb goes down and everybody's in the dark, or the grid goes down, or they're talking about food shortages. They already know they're coming, by the way. And do you remember in the last year or two all those food production plants that mysteriously blew up and burned spontaneously? Couldn't be part of a plan there, could it? But at any rate, they didn't want to talk about any of that stuff. Any of it. It was like off the table. And then later on, some of the looks down here in New Mexico, among the Hispanic folks, if you want to start up something, you want to start a fight, you want to get something going, you mentioned dirty looks. Hey man, are you giving me a dirty look? Well, I was getting dirty looks yesterday, but anyhow, I came out of there and I thought, well, I don't know, maybe I did something wrong. I'm not the most charismatic presenter on the planet. Maybe someone could have said it better. There's always a great possibility there. But anyway, it just struck me as so strange. It was just, it's kind of like, hey folks, here on the Titanic, we just kind of had a little episode downstairs, but don't worry, the maitre d' will still be bringing snacks and stuff, and the music is still playing in the background, so you're going to be fine. I wouldn't go anywhere near the lifeboat if I were you. That's just conspiracy theory stuff. And in other words, the collision has already occurred. The damage is intense, and the ship is sinking. What do you want to do? Turn up the music and let's have some more hors d'oeuvres, or whatever they're called. Those little things they put on a toothpick. Hors d'oeuvres. I don't think so. There's probably a French word for that. Speaking of French, Marine Le Pen, I guess, is going to take over as the French Prime Minister. And, of course, the lefties in France, being Frenchmen, have decided to go riot in the streets. Let's burn the place down. That should make things a lot better in France. That's what I would do. You know, if you really want to improve things in France, what you do is you go burn police cars, you throw rocks through windows, you start fires. You know, I mean, it's what is this with these lefties? But anyway, the world as it continues to turn, your stomach and mine. I just kind of wanted to kick back a little bit with you and kind of share some very small successes. You know, forget about world history, forget about, you know, reviving the church, forget about stopping World War III, no more atom bombs, please. And no, this is small stuff. So today we went in, there's a restaurant I like to go to around the corner called Walkin' World. And, you know, it's with the N and the apostrophe. That bothers me. Anyway, Walkin' World. But they have good food, and I like this one called Ants Climb a Tree. It's basically rice with noodles and something else. I don't know. It's just pure carbohydrates, but it really tastes good. But at any rate, they've had a problem in the back, I guess, with one of their floor sinks. And now, if you don't know what a floor sink is, go into a restaurant sometime in the kitchen area. That's where you'll probably see them most often, and this was a restaurant. It's a white cast iron sink. Looks, you know, real similar to a kitchen sink in a home. Except it's on the floor, and if they've done it right, it's up a little bit. Almost nobody does it right, except me. But anyway, you run your indirect waste off the sinks, and so there's an air break there. That way, it's impossible for sewage to ever get mixed up into the potable water. It just can't happen. So it's a way to, you know, maintain sanitary standards and stuff like that. Well, anyway, the bottom of the 3-inch iron trap had just, I guess, rotted out. Dimitro tried to come in there with a cable and a big old sewer machine. He couldn't get it through that trap no matter what he did. And you want to know why? We found out today. The bottom of the trap had blown out, so the darn cable is shooting right into the ground. I'm glad he didn't get it stuck, because boy, there's a hairball for you. If you ever get a cable stuck underground, especially the big ones, oh my gosh. Hope it doesn't happen far from you, because you're going to end up digging up everything probably. I've even found in old sewers, one we were doing a remodel on, and then we just bypassed it because it was such a mess. We ran a brand new sewer. Well, when you get down near the sewer tap, there was 80 foot of sewer cable stuck in there. Someone had got that cable stuck, who knows how long ago. They cut it off with the grinder, walked away, and left that cable down there all those years. Well, that might cause a stoppage or two, you know, things like that big steel monster. But anyhow, the moral of the story is Dee didn't have to do anything like that. But the point is that thing's all fixed up. We got it broke out, and I tell you, I've seen some weird plumbing deals before. But the way they did the vent on this thing, and the way that they brought in a waste from the front, technically it's not legal. So you didn't hear me say anything about doing this job. But there's a rule in plumbing: you can't double trap, which is exactly what we're doing. The trap goes in the first floor sink, travels about 12 feet, rotates, comes 6 feet further, and goes into the riser on the second trap. Bad idea. But it has worked apparently thus far, and it was so tight in there for space that I had Dee come back and say, hey man, sit down and look at this with me, because I've been scratching my head. I don't want to blow this back another 6 feet, you know, to do some crazy or offset it 2 feet to the right to make it work and make it legal. But one of the problems was really weird. I thought the vent, at least we believed it was a vent line. It had slope going that way, and it would have worked as a vent. But we got up on the roof with a garden hose, and we ran water down every single vent we could find on the roof. I never saw a drop. I don't know where the water was going. But so we're assuming it's a vent. The line is clear, and now it's connected. But anyway, the sewer runs, and the floor is patched, and the guy, he was nice enough to give us a couple of bottles of soda pop. Boy, that stuff is so sugary. Oh, I forgot how sweet that Coca-Cola is. When I was a kid, they used to make it with sugar. Now, if you really want to taste what Coca-Cola actually tastes like, you got to come down here to this part of the country and buy a Mexican Coca-Cola, and it's in a glass bottle. I guess with a deposit. That's the way they used to do glass bottles. But anyway, they still make it with sugar. They still make it the right way, and it's definitely a different flavor. This hydrogenated corn syrup solid stuff that they're using is super dense. It's a really intense form of sugar, but it doesn't taste the same. And So every so often I might go down, there's stores here in town where you can find a Mexican Coca-Cola, sometimes at least, or maybe they're seasonal. And boys, people really like them though because it's the way Coca-Cola should taste. And I don't know why Coca-Cola doesn't know this. I'm not a big soda pop drinker. I used to drink a lot of that stuff when I was a kid, up until probably I was close to 30. And all of a sudden, there's just something about the flavor of that kind of went sideways in my mouth. And it was just like, oh, why am I putting this in my mouth? This is nasty. And you just kind of lose your flavor for it, I do the same thing with Cheetos, those cheese that goes crunch. I like the deep, the little crunchy ones, the kind of hard crunchy ones, not the fluffy soft ones. Ugh. But anyway, occasionally I'll start eating those things, maybe for lunch, have a little bag or something like that. But they're super expensive these days, like $3 for a little tiny bag of this junk. It's like, but that stuff's not even food. Anyway, so I'll be chomping along on this stuff here, driving down the road or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Get 2/3 of the way through the bag. Now this is like after the 4th or 5th bag, so we're talking 10 days here, one every other day or something. And after about 4 bags, somewhere in the middle of that thing, I'll put one of these. It's like, look at it, and what is that? Is that even food? And it's like, doesn't smell like it, doesn't have the consistency of it. Taste it. It doesn't taste like food. What is this stuff? And I think it's cellulose with flavor or something. I don't know what this stuff is. Anyway, I talked to my little brother today. I guess I'm going up to Albuquerque for the 4th. I like to do that, most every year if I can. And, most years I can. So it's been kind of a low-level kind of, ritual in a way between us over the years. Because I really only come for the 4th and usually Thanksgiving. Sometimes Memorial Day, or, if somebody wants me there for a reason, I'll show. But it's about a 3.5-hour drive one way, and it's a nice drive. But I figured I'll come up on Thanksgiving Day, on the 4th of July day, the Thursday. It made me think of Thanksgiving because Thanksgivings are on Thursdays, so never mind. And he's going to have a house full. He's got 2 kids, and his daughter is bringing their grandkids, so the house is going to be full. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, we do have a sister. So I called Sis and said, hey, you got a spare room? Can I crash out in there? I said, I'll even, pay rent. So I said, well, maybe not pay rent, but, I'll try to bring some summertime food. Like there's a lady on Missouri, maybe I'll bring one of her melons. This lady can pick a melon. She sniffs them and she squeezes them, and she's got all kinds of secret. But anyway, when she chooses a melon and she says it's good, it's good. Me, I'm just guessing. I'm just making it up. It's like, I don't know, it looks like the right color. But anyhow, after being so bummed out yesterday, I decided, no, I'm not going to make any videos. And then I kind of tried this morning. But again, the algorithm I was looking at, I was just so bummed out. It's just all bad news. And the good news is still true. The good news is still applicable. The good news still rules the world. And sometimes I just need a little reminder of this. So I turned the algorithm off, and I decided I'm going to go pick weeds instead. It was about 10 minutes to 7, so I had 32 minutes or something like that. And I tell you, I thought I got all the weeds on, I believe it was Saturday evening. Yeah, I remember now, because it was about 4:35. I ended up going outdoors because there was clouds over top, just like there is now. And maybe we are starting a rainy season. It does look a little more on the wet side, and that's a good thing. Boy, we could sure use the rain. But anyhow, so Saturday I was out there, and I said, well, I'm just going to salt these suckers. I'm going to tear them up. And no survivors. Well, I was wrong. I went outdoors this morning just to see what the weather looked like, and just kind of walk around, look at the sky. And I just look around. I saw 22 more weeds, or that's just a number. But it was like I wasn't even close to getting them all. So I said, well, they're not. Them little rascals are not getting away from me. And I don't know what this thing is, but it's a nasty little bugger. It's a kind of a light green thingamajigger, and it kind of flowers up with this purplish looking junk. But that's a weed. That's gnarly, because right at the bottom of the stalk, just above ground level, that's where I usually grab a hold with my fingers. And then I got this steel puncher thing with a fork on it. Boom! I shoot it in the ground about 4 inches down, twist, lift, and jerk that sucker out by the roots. Well, these have little tiny stickers all up and down that spine thing down there, and I'm thinking to myself, Cow repellent? I mean, if I was a cow, I wouldn't eat that junk. Put your tongue on there and go, ouch. So anyhow, whatever cows eat is, I'm sure, another topic for another day. I think it's green stuff like hay. And the cow farts are continuing, and the world is still overheating supernaturally, not supernaturally, way ahead of schedule. Everything's getting way too hot, and it's an emergency. We've got to do something. Like, you mean do left-wing political stuff and send the government more money and surrender more rights? Yeah, that's the stuff. And so anyhow, there was a young man. I wanted to comment briefly. I watched a video. This guy was in the background when Fauci was being interviewed before the Senate. And I don't know how this guy made it back there, but he was on right behind Fauci, and you could see him. He was kind of rolling his eyes a little bit, you know, kind of like listening to this testimony. And the police are after him for it, for some reason. It's like, it is not a crime to make fun of a fool. And so I don't know what they're going to actually accuse him of what? Having facial expressions? Having an opinion? That when he hears a lie, he responds? Anyway, this poor guy, he was also with the January episode, and we're not going to say what day because the YouTube algorithm knows what to look for. Anyway, he just got out of the pokey after like almost 3 years. Doing time for what? And he had it on videotape what he did. Oh, it was egregious. It was a terrible crime. He was standing there not talking to a cop. Hey, how you doing? All right. Is everything going okay? Yeah, fine. Is it okay for me to be in here? Yeah, just as long as you don't go past any locked doors and don't set off any alarms. Yeah, just look around. That was the crime. And so anyway, they're trying to penalize this guy again with yet another crime for having the integrity to not be able to hold a straight face when he's hearing a world-class liar. And we know who that would be, don't we? Tony, that little creep. He tried the same crap with the AIDS thing back in the 80s. You know what it is that these people are actually looking for a way to bump you off. They want to see you 6 feet under. It's part of the big plan. There's just too many of you lowlifes. And how the heck are we going to describe who gets to live? Oh, the same people who have all the money and all the control. They get to decide. I think I know who they're going to choose, and it ain't going to be me. Because frankly, I can't stand them, and I honestly, I pray for judgment upon them. So judgment is upon the land. The office of prophet. Now, this is another thing I said in Sunday school yesterday. One of our problems is this church is this. In our minds, although we won't say it, we activate it's true. We behave that way. That's the way our opinions are formulated. The office of prophecy is dead. Kaput. Adios. Bye-bye. And I said, you know, the prophet's words still ring true. And I said the main job of the prophet wasn't going, well, here's what I'm going to tell you about the future. A, it'll happen, then B, it'll happen, then C, it'll happen, in that order. Look for these events. Well, there was some of that. But the real thing that the prophets were doing was they were speaking to the kings and the princes and the royal families, and they were saying, the land is under judgment now because of your sin and because of the sins of your fathers. The people are suffering, and they will be crushed because of you and your sin. And you will be swept away, whatever, however the prophet went. But the point is that it was primarily directed at the local authorities and the regional authorities in light of interpreting, what does God think of your little shenanigans? What does God think of you, Joe Biden? What does God think of you, that sleazebag that ostensibly is, I can't remember his name, managing the border down there? Managing it. Ugh. These guys are traitors, full-tilt traitors to the Constitution and to their own oath of office. They need to be penalized heavy, and I mean with jail time, and I'd prefer to see them swing by the neck until dead, if you'd like to know. But the point is that the world is looking that way, and the church doesn't want to know. And that topic doesn't exist. We're not going there. Okay, that's your strategy, huh? Okay, we'll see how that works for you. And wee man, it's gonna be blow up in the face time. But at any rate, when we look at the world around us and you realize, you know, maybe my contribution isn't the most important. I mean, all I really did today was blow up a floor, put in a P-trap, hook up the darn vent, made her go, and then we patched the floor. But that matters. Now the restaurant can open, right? So I was thinking, you know, you be on time, you do your job. The good news is that he sees, he knows. He knows our attitude, he knows our motivation, he knows when we want to do something and when we're dragging our feet. He knows when we're lying and he knows when we're telling a half truth. Right? And so the thing is that if we can walk with our lives full of the integrity of Christ as a gift in our lives. In other words, yes, we want integrity. Yes, we want morality. Yes, we want virtue. But we ain't got none of that now, do we? Flat out, man. But he has it. And that's the whole point of the good news, is that he's joined us in our bodies. He's come into our hearts. And in this, he brings resources to rebuild us, to change us, so that we're not the same old man or woman we were before. Now, am I perfect? Don't start, please. You're going to make me puke in my sock. And I hate that one. When that happens, it smells so bad. But the thing is that, of course, we're not perfect, but we're growing. We got one eye open. We're trying to move around a little bit. We're taking baby steps, however you want to put it, but something's happening. The change has begun. The good news means hope. Look forward. Don't give up. Hit it harder. Hit it as fast and furious as you can to make that job go, to make it go right, go true, go honest, and go so that years from now, when asked about it, you won't, when the topic comes up, you won't feel guilty. That's kind of the goal. You want to be able to say, if you do remember, you want to think, oh yeah, I remember that was a tough one, but we nailed that sucker in the butt. You want to nail it right there. Get it just so that when you walk away, you feel good about it. You can go to sleep at night and just forget and think, well, we'll figure out what tomorrow's chaos is all about. I guess we're doing more breaking tomorrow. Boy, we're getting good at slugging that concrete. Someday maybe we'll call it Mike and Marty's Concrete Destructo Squad. Actually, it's hard work, but I don't mind it. It's just at 65, by golly, I can sure feel it. I used to do that stuff when I was 35, 40, and that didn't bother me none. But 65, well, different story. So now I got to use more of my thinks than my go-go's. You guys have a good day. Get yourself some dinner. I'm still working. I had a bowl of that, not a bowl, a pot of that stuff the other day with the noodles, the rice, and the beans, and that was about it. It's been sitting in there like 4 days. I still haven't finished it. So I guess that's what's for dinner. Yeah, you got to finish up what you got. You know, you got to finish. It's very important to learn, in my opinion, how to be frugal. Frugal. Do you mean cheap? Well, yeah, if you have to. But what I mean is be frugal with your money. Don't go out and make a huge purchase right now because the money itself is getting sketchy. And maybe a point coming up soon where you may not have enough money to buy food. I hate to be the one to bring it up. I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but this exploit to gain power and to seize power and to deny Donald Trump his rightful due, they'll do anything. These people are ruthless and they want you dead. That's what that's about. So we got to fight back. If it's going to take force, then we pray for force to come, the right force, and maybe that's Russia in this case. I can't believe these idiots are actually talking about tangling with Russia and China at the same time. Both atomic bomb powers. Yep, that's our leadership. Dumber than a bag of rocks. But anyway, they're ugly too. I mean, there's demonic forces involved. So take all that down to the bank and deposit it. But I just do thank you for watching. Have a good day. And I'm glad I finally was able to, get myself together enough to make a video. Because, boy, I woke up yesterday, after church, and this morning I woke up and kind of went, ugh, who wants to do this? It's like it just takes all your motivation right out of you. Your contribution is not welcome. But your contribution is, thanks for contributing your time and watching. You guys have a good day and God bless.